Stay a while and listen.
All right. Welcome. I am Ross. With
And
me
I
today,
am Saul.
Saul.
That's right. I didn't even give you a chance to introduce me. I just
Yes.
jumped right in there.
It's probably for the better. Well, this is the Agony of Positivity podcast, AOP podcast, whatever you want to call it. How's your week been going?
My week, it's been pretty hot.
Hot? Like
hot, yeah.
like it's awesome? Or hot like,
No, like
it's Ohio
hot.
and 90 degrees?
Oh yeah, hot Ohio, just terrible. Yeah.
Nice and soupy.
I'll be glad when summer is over.
Yeah, I would be pleased with fall. Winter's fine too at this point. So,
Sure.
do anything exciting at all during the week?
I watched a lot of survival shows.
Yeah.
I watched this one show called Dual Survivor.
Which one is that?
So it's like two dudes.
Is that the barefoot guy?
Yeah, the barefoot guy.
Oh,
Well, see,
jeez.
I liked season 1 and season 2 because you had like barefoot hippie guy, and then you had like redneck guy,
Right?
and then I guess redneck guy lied or did something about him not being a military guy, or
Yeah,
I think he
remember.
lied a little bit.
Yeah, there was like a scandal that went with that of some kind.
Yeah, something happened there. I don't know. So they kicked him off, and they replaced him with an actual real, I guess, military guy. So I don't know.
Was it when, I guess, fake military guy then, or whatever he claimed that wasn't true that got him off the show?
Yeah.
Did it have the episode where they were in the snow and he just lost his mind because hippie guy was complaining about his feet?
Yeah, like the real military guy, yeah.
Because there was one of them, I remember watching it, and the no shoe guy was like, well, I know it'll be kind of cold or something like that, but it'll be okay.
Yeah.
And then he's like, my feet are just freezing. It hurts so bad. And he was like,
Sure.
if only he knew we were coming. Oh, wait, he did know we were coming to the cold. Like something along those lines.
Yeah. So
and I remember I just couldn't watch it because I hated hippie guy after that point. This is the biggest
anyway, yeah.
self-sabotage possible.
So I was watching that all week. I was bored.
Right?
Yeah, so.
Trying to think. I have watched a bunch of South Park,
Okay.
and I forgot how funny some of the stuff is, and also how inappropriate some of the stuff is.
Sure.
And then, let's see. The other thing I did is, you've heard of the drink a Jack and Coke, where it's Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola?
Yes.
I've never had one of those in my entire life. So
I have not either.
I don't know, because you don't really care for the alcohol at all. I like it all right. I mean, it's Jack Daniels, so it's a cheap, horrible whiskey, in my opinion. I mean, they had to put an E in it. So if you spell your whiskey with an E, I'm going to be a little bit snobby about it.
Sure.
But I mean, like, seriously, though, it actually tastes pretty good. Like, I could drink it with food. That's mostly because it's, you're tasting the Coca-Cola more than anything. But I can see why people drink them pretty heavily. It could definitely be a troublesome drink if you like to indulge too much. So, let's see.
See, and I think that's one of the issues why I don't drink. I like to consume a lot of liquids.
Yeah.
When I'm like eating and stuff like that. I'm afraid if I drank, I would just become a drunk because I would just keep drinking.
There is the potential. It depends on what I have always found. Now, this was when I was much younger. Now, like, I drink one drink of anything, and I'm about out, like, sleepy time. Was the better tasting it was, the more dangerous it was. When they made Mike's Hard Lemonade and Mike's Hard Iced Tea, when those came out, it was like, this is so good. Or there was St. Ides Special Brew. which there was a ska song about Special Brew as well, being so delicious. It was super easy to drink, like pop or Kool-Aid almost, where you could just keep drinking it, and then all of a sudden you are in the floor, so to say. So, let me think. Other than that, I haven't done really anything exciting. I did some lunges, which I haven't done in a long time, and miserable. Right. There's a time in my life I could carry 2 60-pound dumbbells and do lunges for like 50 yards or more and be fine. Yeah. I might have done lunges. I might have made 50 yards of distance with 0 weight, and I wanted to die. So I was going from like one end of the upstairs to the other, and when I got done, it was like, man, I could barely make it upstairs. Like, what happened? Yeah. I mean, got old, basically.
Getting old, man. Getting old.
Old, out of shape. Work from home at a desk. Bad news. So, sure. Let's see. Do you want, for this week, there's a lot of wrestling stuff to go over, a little bit of video game stuff. Is there one you want to go to?
Well, let's just talk about wrestling, since that is going to be the most of it, since we don't really have a lot for the other stuff. So.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Here we go, bumper.
Oh, I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue pants.
This is a revolution.
All right. Do you want to start with Dynamite or the horror show at Extreme Rules?
We can talk a little bit about the horror show, then we can go to NXT, because I actually watched it this week.
All right, excellent, because I have some questions on that. So let me see. Okay. I'm trying to find... Let's see if this gives me the results here. I kind of know what happened from watching it, but... So, the thing I really want to talk about, there's 2 that stuck out to me. One being the eye for an eye match.
Yeah.
What did you think of this match?
I thought it was kind of dumb.
I
don't.
What I am surprised with, there's multiple things about this match that kind of drove me crazy. Overall, I liked it because they had an extreme stipulation, and they followed through on it with no funny business. Other than I assume that he didn't really pull Ray's eye out with a stare. I don't think that would have worked the way they showed, but it wasn't like, oh, somebody came out and stopped it or anything like that. They have given the illusion that Seth Rollins plucked Rey Mysterio's eyeball out of its socket.
Well, I heard, and this is from the rumor mill, the websites, said that they actually had a thing, like a ping pong ball or something, to where they was going to have it like laying on the ground or something. And I guess Vince McMahon nixed it because he didn't like how it looked or something like that.
Well, because it obviously wasn't an eyeball. Well, yes. If you actually pull the eyeball all the way out and detach the retina, you can't walk that back if Ray stays around. Or where what they did, it's like, okay, his eye got kind of popped out, but it is within medical ability to get that back into the socket and potentially heal from that. So, I mean, I assume everyone knows that they didn't really pull Ray's eye out of the socket, so he should still have an eye. This at least gives a plausible story to it. Now, one of the issues I have with this is Ray and Seth basically have a competition. Ray gets to pick the stipulation. Someone's going to lose an eyeball. Seth Rollins is like, I don't think this is a good idea. I'd rather not. No, we're doing this, says Rey Mysterio. Are you sure? Because I don't think this is the best idea, says Seth Rollins. So Seth Rollins was like, no, we probably shouldn't do this. Rey Mysterio was hell-bent on vengeance. Well, once you're in the match, you got to go through with it. So Seth Rollins wins this match. People are booing him. Seth Rollins is not the bad guy. If anything, it is a tragedy, and Rey Mysterio is to blame for all of this at this point. Now, granted, there's a lot of stuff leading up to it to make Ray insane. to want this match. But Rollins was like, maybe we shouldn't do this. Oh, we're doing it. All right, you're 5'0" against me. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It's definitely not going to be a match that I remember.
I will, because I was like, there's going to be some screw job finish, 100%. Let's see. There's anything else. We got the Bray Wyatt thing I want to talk about for a second, but we got Cesaro and Nakamura with the crazy double table top rope powerbomb to the outside. Remember when Nakamura seemed like a super big deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons it's one of the reasons why I don't really watch NXT that much, because no matter how cool a wrestler is, they don't use them right on the main brand. So
90% of the time. I'm making up a number, but it sure feels like a lot of the time.
yeah.
We had the McIntyre Ziggler match. I don't think anyone.
I thought that was all right.
It was a good match, but I don't think anyone thought for a second that Ziggler was going to win. I did like the stipulation that he pulled out.
Yeah.
Because at first it was like Extreme Rules, and my expression was the same as McIntyre's, where it was like, are you kidding me? That's weak.
Sure.
And then he was like, for you, or for me, but not for you. And I was like, okay, I don't know if that exact one's been done in quite a while. So I'm sure that's not the first time that stipulation has been used somewhere. But I didn't see that one coming, so I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so The Fiend, well, technically I guess it was Bray Wyatt and Braun.
So did they get rid of the Fiend?
No, because The Fiend, I think, is what was pulling them under at the end. But this whole thing felt more like, I don't know if you watched WWF at the time when Jake the Snake, Ultimate Warrior, and Undertaker were doing a thing. That ended with Jake the Snake turning on the Ultimate Warrior and locking him in a room with a cobra or something. It felt like this would have been vignettes over a month leading up to a big match at like SummerSlam. Now I will say overall like isn't the correct word, but I enjoyed it. Like I enjoy when they do something kind of different. Go ahead.
It lost me. I mean, there's too much cutting back. I mean, the Boneyard match was a lot better. Was done better than this. The John Cena thing was done better than this. It was just, I don't know, just too many cuts. Yeah.
They were, I mean, I wouldn't call it bad, but it wasn't my favorite out of this style of doing things. And I have no idea what the end result really was, basically. SmackDown is not on for another 40 minutes, so at the time we're recording.
So did he lose?
I don't know. I think they both lost. Because I saw, like, someone made a write-up about this that was kind of good, but the end part was that the Eater of Worlds Bray Wyatt here, Cult Leader Bray, whatever you want to call him, like he makes reference to being free or something. So basically saying that like the Fiend and him are in constant battle kind of thing. And what we saw was the decimation of Bray, and now just the Fiend will remain. Which if you look, and I can get behind that, like the way the guy lined it out, it's like, yeah, that's really good. And Bray Wyatt seems like the kind of guy who would do that kind of nuance to his story. Yeah. WWE, on the other hand, does not seem like the kind of place that would do that kind of nuance to a story. Yeah. As it is now, Bray could be in his own world, so to say, at this point, where he has a lot more input, maybe. But I just don't. This is the thing, like, I just don't have the faith in the follow through to like basically like a fan fiction theory based on the information presented. So until we see SmackDown tonight and get a little bit more what's going on, which I will try to watch SmackDown at least enough to find out what's going on with this. But yeah, like the ending was a little confusing to me.
Now, do you feel like, so like Bray Wyatt, for example, you think WWE has too much restrictions on him.
Mm,
And then if you look at like Matt Hardy, he can do whatever he wants with his character, and I mean, I don't know what in the world he's doing with his character in AEW. His character is so weird and out there
right.
that you kind of wish there was someone saying, okay, we need to, you tune in here a little bit. You're kind of
Well,
getting out there.
for that, I think they did that on Being the Elite this week when Matt Jackson, like during one of the character switches of Matt Hardy, he was just like,
Yeah.
"Are you kidding? This is awful. This is so difficult to know this guy." I think they were saying what we're all thinking.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I saw Matt Hardy did something about like, is it time to just be Matt Hardy or something? I forget what it was, but it made me think that maybe that's going to get dialed back some. I personally hope that Big Money Matt is the one that stays around.
Let's see. I don't think there's an issue. The problem is there's no fans. I think if there was fans would really love this.
Yeah.
Without fans, it's just I don't
Rough.
know. I was out there.
Let me see here. Did you catch like the various women's matches on this?
I saw.
You had Bailey and Nikki Cross, and then you had Sasha
Yes.
and Asuka. WWE's women's matches, I will give credit that they feel like a bigger deal than some of AEW's does.
Agreed.
You know, granted,
Agree with
WWE has like the market on an awful lot of the top women talent for sure.
Let's say they should. They have like all the talent.
Yeah, but I mean, seeing like the level of the top talent they have, it's understandable. It's going to be hard for any federation, I think, to catch up to them with women's wrestling. It's going to be really difficult.
Yeah.
So, I tried to watch Raw this week. I might have even watched it, but I don't remember it.
Okay.
So I'm looking through here. So
Did you see that AEW beat Raw and SmackDown as far as
the demo?
demographic? Yeah.
Yeah. So for the rating thing, because we talked about this some last week, and I was thinking of a different side to this because I'm kind of against them talking about it. But at the same point, NXT definitely wasn't set to be on the USA Network until AEW was set to be on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I could see where if it's like, hey, we're going to pick a day that nothing's on, like on TV at least, like, you know, it was still on the NXT was still on the network at that time, but we're just going to pick this day. And then all of a sudden, it's like if I started up a food truck and then McDonald's was like, you know what? We're going to start a food truck up too, and we're going to park it across the street from you.
Sure.
Like, you'd probably have a higher degree of satisfaction of outdoing the McDonald's truck. When it's like, you guys don't really need to do this. You were literally doing this to spite me.
Sure.
I could see where that would give you that extra chip that you might do stuff that which would mean that the bigger company has kind of gotten into the other company's head a little bit.
Sure.
But I can kind of see taking a few shots. Now, if it goes on like forever that they're constantly doing, it's like, okay, you guys got to get over it. But I was thinking about that, and I was like, I can be a little more forgiving because you got like thousands of fans being weirdos, and you're still dealing with like, man, we were minding our own business, and then they completely counter-programmed us, just solely to take away, like, you know, to make it more difficult for us. I assume was the intent. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Because I think back to when Nitro and Raw was fighting with each other,
Yeah.
and did they do that a lot back then?
Nitro
I can't
did.
remember.
Nitro brought stuff up all the time. WWE, from what I remember, they didn't do that nearly as much.
Well, that's because WWE was getting their ass kicked.
Well,
too,
yeah, that's
so,
true.
I mean,
Yeah, it's hard to say if they would have been winning, how they would have handled it. But
yeah.
all right.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's kind of like you said. Every now and then, like Chris Jericho doing it. Okay, that's part of his character. His character's annoying, you
Right.
know. So it's a little bit. But yeah, if you're doing it every week, it just sounds like you're just being petty at this point, you know.
So, all right. So for Dynamite, if you want to go on to
Oh,
it.
wait, you want to talk about NXT?
Yeah, I got some questions on that. So,
Okay.
did Keith Lee give up the North American title?
Yes.
What was the explanation for that? I assume
He
they weren't
basically
like,
said,
we were just really trying to counter program to Fyter Fest, and we just needed something big.
no, I mean, they explained it pretty good. So Keith Lee pretty much said he wanted to give his full attention to defending the NXT title because, it means a lot to basically the promotion. And he's like, the North American title has been an honor to have it, but he wants to give somebody else a shot at holding the belt and basically representing the North American belt. So he's like, that's why he was giving up, because he wanted someone else to be able to, you know, show it respect or whatever.
So he found a better, hotter belt, and he's he's dropping the 7 for a 10, which I mean is completely fair.
Yeah, but that's how they explained it.
Are they going to do a tournament or a
Yeah.
battle royal? Okay, tournament's fine.
Yeah.
I would like to see. When I read that, I always want someone to do this where they do like a gauntlet match, where it's like, I'm going to keep going until someone beats me. Like whether they do like a battle royal to determine the order that people get to fight him in. But just something like to kind of go out on your shield, so to say, I guess.
Sure.
Or something like that.
Well, it was funny because Keith Lee is doing this Zoom call or whatever he's doing in his office. It looks like so he's he's sitting behind his desk in this chair and everything, looking all professional. Then like William Regal is also talking, and William Regal looks like he's at his grandma's house because there's like this big clock behind him. It's like this old grandfather clock.
Englishman.
It just looked weird. I was just like, Keith Lee looks professional. Yours looks like you're like visiting your grandma or something. I don't know. It irked me.
I mean, he's super old, so
Sure.
he's probably afraid to have tea around too, because Jericho's going to show up and urinate in it and besmirch him again.
So
somehow,
the one thing that really was cool was this guy named Dexter Loomis.
Yeah, Loomis.
Yeah, he is just weird to watch. His like his vacant stare that he does and his movements. If you ever get a chance to watch some of his matches, or at least or this match with Killian Dane there, it was it was neat.
Because that was the same guy who showed up to the Dream Adam Cole match and abducted people in the trunk of the car, right?
I don't know. I mean, I could see that. I could see him doing that. Yes.
It's the guy with like the comb over hair.
Yeah.
The
Mustache.
gloves. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he's a neat character. I enjoyed him.
All right. If anyone is hearing, just real quick, I'm trying to mute my mic as much as possible. We got people outside playing music. I don't think it'll come up sound-wise, but I'm trying to mute just to be safe. So if you can hear the background noise, apologies. Try to work around it as best as possible. It's broad daylight, so you can only hear it in the back room, which unfortunately is where I'm at. But
I cannot hear it, but
okay.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's not coming through to you, it shouldn't come through to the recording. But on the off chance that there's some loud noise, that might be what it is. What else happened? Was Adam Cole on there at all, or was he busy cussing at Pat McAfee? Still?
No, yeah, Adam Cole wasn't on there, at least not from what I saw. Yeah. What else? Oh, yeah. So the Everrise Canadian tag team came out, and then they were competing against. At first, I was so excited because the Mounties music started playing. I was like, "Oh my god, the Mountie!" But it was just Breezango there.
Yes, Tyler Breeze and Fandango.
Yeah.
Or Dango, I think is what they call him now. Yeah, I watched their little intro and I laughed. They always, it seems like I catch video of them doing something ridiculous for their intro constantly. I'm still a little bit sad that when Tyler Breeze went up to the main roster, nothing really good happened for him.
Yeah.
So, because I am a big fan of Tyler Breeze, and I just felt let down for him. He's probably happy making lots of money, but
sure, I'm not gonna feel too sorry for the guy. But yeah. Hopefully, when his contract runs up, he goes to AEW or something.
yeah, it seems like he'd be good somewhere. But I mean, he might just be happy being a WWE guy.
Sure.
With all the perks that go with that. So, was there anything else that stuck out to you?
There was a woman wrestler, Shotzi Blackheart.
Yeah,
I
did she
think her
come out
name
in the little
was.
tank?
Yeah, she came out in the tank. She was just a neat character because she kept on doing this howl thing that kind of reminded me of Rufio from Hook.
Yes.
Yes, so she kept on doing that, and it just reminded me of Rufio.
Did you immediately go Rufio and pretend she
Yes.
was like?
Yeah, and then so then they did the a ladder match for the North American title, to earn a spot for the championship or whatever. And I kind of disappeared. I was like making food or something, so I didn't really watch that. So I don't know what happened there.
It's funny that it's like, oh, it's a ladder match. I can miss that.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't watch
We're
it.
so desensitized to. No, I've stepped away during matches where it's like, it's funny that I'm walking away during this type of a match or this situation.
Sure.
But overall, did you enjoy? Like, was there anything else to it, or like, did you enjoy NXT overall?
Yeah, I mean, so when I came back, well, I was going to call him Killer Cross, but I guess his name's Karrion Cross.
Yeah.
Okay. So Karrion Cross, have you ever seen his entrance? It's wild.
Yeah, I wasn't as impressed as the online world was with it. I mean, it was cool, but I don't know. Maybe because I'm an old man, I've seen so many entrances that you got to do something really out there.
His girlfriend, wife, whatever.
I think it's just his manager, Scarlett, or I don't know.
Scarlett.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, she's like dancing around and like very over the top with her dancing skills during his entrance. So overall, though, NXT, I think so. I'm gonna try to word this right. I think their wrestling is better, but the overall product for AEW Dynamite is better. Does that make any sense?
I kind of understand what you mean there. It seems like NXT has lost a little bit. Now, I don't follow it as closely as I used to.
Sure.
But it seems like they lost a little bit of what made NXT really good. I don't know if it's when they switched to 2 hours or if them doing like they're basically in competition with AEW.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made them change up some stuff that maybe they wouldn't have. Maybe it's the pandemic where the crowds are weird. But it definitely feels like there's a little bit of a loss to, not like a complete loss, but they're a little bit different than they were when I was super into it.
Well, and I think, and this is the problem, just from the pay-per-view I saw, AEW has a big advantage over WWE right now because they're actually in a stadium,
Yeah,
And,
somewhere that actually kind of has a cool look to it.
It looks like WWE's in a broom closet. Or
I mean, they basically are. It looks like they're in some kind of like gym performance center.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It just I don't know. It just in the plexiglass, laser bouncing off it.
The thing that drives me crazy with the plexiglass is when they beat on it.
Yes.
There are too many white people with no rhythm or something. I don't know what it is, but it's just like you'll hear like a rhythm going, and you can tell there's people who are just off. And it just I understand they're going for like kind of like what a hockey game feel is, but it just seems if everyone there is being tested, do you need the plexiglass? Like, I don't know. I don't think I like it from a look standpoint.
No.
Now, if you brought it out for like a special kind of match or something, then that'd be one thing. But yeah, I hope they don't do it going forward.
Well, at the pay-per-view, it might have been when Sasha came out and Bailey. I mean, there was just so much lasers and like bouncing off the glass. I'm like, I can't, this is hurting my eyes.
Yeah, it's got its own set of problems with it for sure. But
I mean, overall, if you missed the NXT and you want to watch some wrestling, it was good.
right, yeah, I don't think we're definitely not anti NXT. That's for sure. It's just we typically don't watch it. All right, you want to move on to Dynamite?
Yeah.
All right. So we got this is my first experience with Eddie Kingston. So the way he came out, where he kind of like just barged his way out and started talking, it took like 3 or 4 sentences in. I was like, something about this guy, like it grabbed my attention.
Yeah.
Like he came across as a big deal, kind of.
Yeah.
Where it was like kind of like the loudmouth guy, but just the way he spoke, maybe some of like a little bit of the accent to it or whatever it was, but it was like, all right, I'm interested.
Yeah, he was Proud and Powerful's manager in Impact.
You mean you can call him LAX? It's okay.
LAX,
was that when Homicide or whatever his name was in it, or Hernandez?
I want to say no. It was them.
Was it?
It
Okay.
was, yeah.
See, I didn't know.
It was the new LAX, I guess.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely attention grabbing. Something I liked, I'm assuming that he was selling, but the way he sold his knee during the match was very good, because I couldn't tell if he was selling it or if he was actually hurt.
Yeah,
it wasn't the over the top leg sell. It was like, I've hurt my knee. That's kind of how, like, you know, you're mostly okay, but you're worried about it, and it like locks up on you a little bit. So the way he was doing it was like, I was super invested in trying to figure out if he was really hurt or if he was selling.
I mean, he definitely did a better job at selling that than Brian Cage did with
his arm.
Moxley.
Yes. Where he was just like, nah, I'm RoboCop. You can't hurt my arm. Oh.
Is that all you got?
Yeah. But yeah, so this is another match where I didn't think, like, and I like that they went with like no DQ. Like, he goaded Cody into doing a no DQ match.
Yeah.
And he made Cody mad enough that he accepted it, even though it was probably a bad idea. And they kind of beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah. They're so Cody's matches, it confuses me because I don't know if he's being the heel, if he's being the face. I just, you know,
I think he's just. I think that's the intent, is for you to wonder about him.
Sure. Well, I mean, they're doing a very good job of that.
Yeah. What do you think about all of a sudden there's thumbtacks and Cody's just getting power bombed into him?
Well, it doesn't surprise me that Cody wants to bleed, so I mean...
Like, that boy will do anything to get some blood on the outside of his body.
I'm sure at the meetings on whenever they discuss the matches, Cody's probably like, "Hey, Khan, I haven't bled in a while. Let's get that in a match somewhere."
I wonder if it never occurred to me. I wonder if Matt Jackson doing the gig thing on being the Elite, where he was constantly like blading all the time, if that was like a funny, like, making fun of Cody.
It might have been.
I never thought of it that way, but now it's like, you know, that'd be like a funny way to go about it. But
and talk about being the Elite. Have you noticed that Cody is not on there anymore?
If he's on there, it's like him walking in the background or something.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's cut the one promo where he's like, "Am I even part of the Elite? I don't know." Sure. And like
storytelling,
could be. I mean, talk about like they're more likely to do the nuance to stories. Here, I still don't know like if it being on being the Elite is the best place for it, but I mean it. Like this week's being the Elite was pretty good.
They are definitely the Tolkien of of the wrestling world. They go into long details with their stories.
Yes.
And they will go for months to get that story out.
Whether it's good or not. And if it's bad, they'll
Yes.
even acknowledge that no one cares, but they're going to finish it. So
Yes.
now
exactly.
I'm excited for next Monday because I want to see apple picking with the Matt Jackson and his family. Figure out his apple pie recipe for the 50-plus demographic, which is working.
Sure.
They gain ground in that demo if you're into that.
Sure.
But yeah, so anyway, so end result is Cody still wins the match. But it seems like Kingston got an awful big spike in interest as a result of this. Because I know I watched some of his stuff because I knew almost nothing about him. I know he did like an Instagram thing saying like, thanks for all the interest and stuff like that. So it seems like there might be something for him in the future with AEW if he wants it. Hopefully.
Sure.
But yeah, let's see here.
I like how on the AEW's website, there's like AEW World Champion John Moxley was somewhere in the bowels of the arena.
Yes. He was like, you know what was great was when Mankind was talked about being in the bowels of the building. I want that.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, he has like the little, pretty intense promo though about Taz and Brian Cage. And like he kind of put over where, Taz saved his arm. Like basically saying that he knows that Brian Cage wouldn't tap out to him, so it was smart of Taz, that kind of thing, which is good.
So I wonder if they're going to keep this their feud going to All Out.
I mean, based on what we're seeing set up for next week,
Yeah,
I'm not sure how that's gonna go. We'll get to that here because you might be able to answer some questions that I have because I'm just curious where it'll go. But we got MJF making fun of Griff Garrison, which is great. I love fake Jungle Boy. The best was on being the Elite when Silver and Reynolds were like, yeah, we got Jungle Boy. Brody comes in and just is totally not happy because that is not Jungle Boy. But yeah, so MJF just abuses this dude.
Yeah, it's a shame that MJF has just kind of just disappeared from storylines.
I mean, on social media, he's big on saying like Mox isn't his champion and things like that, and he wants a title shot. So I think they're getting there. I think they're just hopefully they're straying. They're trying to get Cage and Moxley separated, and they're gonna that might take a little bit, and then they'll get to MJF. So we got some of our role model Britt Baker with Tony Schiavone trying to figure out if her name is Rebel or Reba, but gets interrupted. I mean, Britt Baker does Britt Baker things. Still talking about going to be at All Out, so I assume that's still the plan for her.
I would assume as well, yes.
Against what's become a bully in Big Swole.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay, so now we get the Taz. Now this part I found interesting because Taz and Cage came out, and now I had watched, not Dynamite, Dark, where Taz has been very complimentary to Ricky Starks.
Yep.
So, but with this, they acknowledged that Cage was not happy with Taz throwing in the towel. He went over like the thought process behind it, and they basically addressed that issue as opposed to just ignoring it, which was nice. And then, they're still playing up him being the FTW champion, which I imagine will last for quite a while.
One would hope, yes.
Yeah. I mean, this is again like Taz is good on the mic. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody.
Sure.
It's kind of like for a while there when like Heyman, people were just blown away. Like with him and Brock, and it's like, well, Heyman's always been good on the mic. It's just you forget sometimes. So Darby starts to come out to get in, basically to get back at Cage more, but he gets cut off by Ricky Starks.
Yep.
And your favorite move, probably. Am I right on that? With Brian Cage, the inside or outside in powerbomb.
It's gonna be more amazing when they're actually in other arenas and he does that from the ground and throws them in the.
Be like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, like that move is awesome. So I hope that they, even if that's like a pay-per-view only thing where they have the stage, I like it. Like, it's probably one of my favorite moves to see. I know you're a big fan of the power bombs, so they just beat the tar out of Darby. Like, he does not have a chance. John Moxley eventually strolls on down to the ring, but like,
Yes. Strolls is a good word for that.
I don't know whose timing was worse, Kenny Omega or Moxley. But
Well,
I
see,
mean,
now with Kenny,
we'll
we'll get to it.
Okay.
But yeah, the Kenny Omega I had a problem with. So anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so this sets up basically, like, they announce it later, but you're going to get Moxley and Darby against Starks and Cage, and I believe it's a tornado match where they're just all being crazy at the same time. So,
Sure. So do you like Starks with Cage?
yeah, I think that'll be pretty good. Like, I think you got like the power and the small guy dynamic with it. I think both of them stand well on their own, but again, like, you get managers who are trying to get stables going, it looks like, where Taz is working with them. So I think that'll be good, because I don't think he's another person where, like, I don't think he needs help on the mic, but Taz is going to make him more legitimate no matter what.
Yeah.
And honestly, even if you're like super awesome at a promo, be like, yeah, that's fine, I'll have Taz talk for me some too. Like,
Sure.
that's not gonna hurt. That's gonna give me an edge that maybe I couldn't.
I mean, you look at the NWO back in the day. I mean, my God, the entire thing was talkers. So
Yes.
I mean,
Well, yeah, you'd start and like WWE was terrible about it with I forget what they called them, the Authority, where it was like Triple H and Stephanie talking for 20 minutes, and I was like, oh, this is awful. At least the NWO, everybody was really good. And it was something different.
Personalities.
Yeah. So next we get a very weird match, I felt. The the match itself makes sense, but there are some really weird things about it. You had the Young Bucks against Butcher and Blade in a false count anywhere.
It's good that Tony Khan lets Butcher and Blade make some mistakes before they start their matches. Apparently,
did you catch where they stopped and they were like, "Hold on," and they went and washed their hands?
Yes, that was great.
I liked that. I kind of wonder, because there was when Big E was talking about his favorite types of matches are big men slapping meat, basically. Like, he doesn't want technically, but there were multiple times in this match where they literally slapped each other with meat.
Yes.
So I wonder if he was just thrilled, or if people blew up his Twitter to be like, "Is this what you want?"
Slapping meat.
I was horrified that the knife and the cleaver were still laying around at one point. Trying to think. But yeah, they went pretty much everywhere in the back of the building. Did anything stick out to you other than just the general, crazy backstage stuff?
No, I mean, overall, I thought it was a good match. I was glad they got out of the kitchen area, because the slabs of meat laying on the ground, I was like, oh, that's just a waste of good food right there.
From the guy who would burn those steaks to a crisp.
It just bothered me. I was like, yeah, you guys need to get out of there.
Right.
So anyway, they moved on to high.
What did you think of Butcher and Blade just being in like white stuff and Butcher having the apron?
Well, JR, I think JR said it a couple weeks ago. He's like, I wonder if they work at a bakery before they come in, because he's like, why are they all wearing white for it and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's intentional to like be a complete contrast of when it's match time, but I don't know.
Yeah, it looks good on him.
I'm a huge fan of the Butcher at this point. Like, I love his look. I can't wait till they get an action figure of him. I will probably buy that one. I received, if you're watching the YouTube thing, I'll hold it up here, the little bit of the bubbly Chris Jericho action figure.
Okay.
Like, that came in the mail finally. It's about, if you've ever seen any of the WWE Elite figures, it's pretty much exactly the same as those.
Okay.
Little differences, but it's overall it's a really good figure. So,
worth your money?
I feel like it was pricey, like it was $40, but it comes with like the table and a full setup. It came with the title. The Jericho has like a sleeveless shirt that's got like Velcro on the back. That's how it works, but it feels good quality. The toy feels good, like it moves well. I made him fight a Dean Ambrose Shield era Elite figure that I happen to have, and the art. I really prefer like that 3.75 GI Joe action figure size. Like it's small enough that I don't feel like I'm playing with like a full size doll.
You are a real nerd when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, as with many things in life, I'm very particular about things. So if they could ever make 3.75 wrestling toys like the old GI Joes, I'd buy those up. It'd be great. But yeah, so let me see here. But yeah, so when they make Butcher, when he finally gets a figure, I'll probably get that because I really just like his look. Trying to see, there's I mean, like, mostly Matt Jackson is just trying to hurt himself, so he has another injury to sell for 2021, I assume.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch of just like throwing each other around and just wrecking each other.
It's just a typical Nick and Matt match. Where
it's a little bit on the spotty side, you could say.
Well, it was funny because on the Instagram, FTR was like, "Oh, hey, here's your favorite type of matches, Nick and Matt. You want the tag? You can do whatever you want." I really like how FTR just totally dogs the tag division in AEW.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it
perfect.
adds their character.
Well, and then they cheat and do what they talk about the others not doing as well.
Yes. Yes.
So this match, the Bucks win this one with like the double table spot or whatever. I didn't. The only way I thought Butcher and Blade would win, is if somebody else got involved in the match. But there'd be really no reason for that at this point in time. So, but yeah, it was a good match. Butcher and Blade have not had much winning, but there's like I still have an interest in them, if that makes any sense. I haven't written them off. Also, I know they're not secretly looking to be like, which one of these is Shawn Michaels? We got to get him solo and let the other one toil in futility.
Yes.
Do you? So I actually thought of this question, but it reminded me of it. Is it possible that Shawn Michaels has done two of the worst things for wrestling ever? One being tag teams, where you always hear. Now, this went on before the Rockers, but it seems like this is the biggest case of it, is which one's Shawn and which one's Marty out of the tag team?
Sure.
Like, I hear that all the time. To where that put the thought in maybe Vince McMahon's head or someone in charge there that tag teams exist to find a single star.
Yeah.
Whereas like AEW, the tag teams actually want to be tag teams. So you're not pushing them to break up, or you're not trying to find out who's the better. You're just happy that the team is good.
I understand why you want to find, because if a person gets hurt in a tag team, it's going to have a hard time trying to that whole tag team is destroyed, even though the other guy is completely healthy.
Right, but you could let them have singles matches.
Sure.
You don't have to, because WWE, it's like, oh, your partner's hurt, you're gone. You're not on TV.
Yes.
Like, now, I could see, it feels like, and I don't know, I don't think WWE has done this. I feel like AEW might, where they would have that person still on TV some, and they would do, like, single matches, and they'd probably lose, but, like, they might actually do a story out of it, like, well, you're looking at someone who's a very good tag team specialist. being in a singles match is a different world, and they're trying to adjust to it.
Sure.
And then when the tag team partner comes back, they're just, killing it or something. It's always weird that I've never seen that. Huh?
You think about like Nitro. Nitro did that a lot. Nitro would use their tag team people for singles stuff. Now, it seems like the only tag teams they had was the Outsiders, Harlem Heat, and the Steiners, but still.
American Males. American Male. Just over and over.
American Males, yes.
Man, their theme song was, I believe people say it slaps. But the other thing that I think Shawn Michaels possibly caused here in America was the WrestleMania 25 match against The Undertaker, where they both kicked out of finishers like a ton, which it happened, but I don't think it happened on the scale that it did in that match. And then it happens all the time now. Like any match that it's like, oh, this is a big match, it's people kicking out of finishers left and right.
Yeah, I don't like that. I liked when I watched it when I was a kid. When you did your finisher, that was it.
Yeah. Well, or there was the grueling match. Someone hits their finisher, they're both down, and they have to crawl over to him to finally make the pin. And it's like a real lazy, it's like an arm over him, and there's actual oh, he might be able to kick out because this took so long. You're just not sure how it's gonna go.
It's like you said. Now, especially in AEW. They'll do a Canadian Destroyer, Pile Driver, Diamond
off the
Cutter
moon
thing. And they kick out. So it's it's pointless.
Because Rex Ryan is up there on the moon getting ready for the 2020 season of football. And they're like, hey, Rex, can you hold this guy? We got to go from the moon down to Daly's place. Or, oh, man.
There's people that have no idea what you're talking about when you're insulting Rex Ryan.
So when Rex Ryan was with the Jets and he was just cutting literally wrestling promos.
Oh, yeah, he was great.
I came up one day, I forget what had happened. I was like, I could see him being like, we'll play the Patriots, we'll play him on the moon. I don't care. Get Brady in a spacesuit up there. We'll go. That Rex Ryan was insane. So in my mind, Rex Ryan lives on the moon as a result of that.
Rex Ryan was great. I love them.
So, all right. Try to get back on track here. I totally detoured us, but just there's always I always see people well, who's going to be the Marty and who's going to be the Shawn of a tag team? But I don't see that with AEW yet, and it's nice to not be oh, this is just a temporary thing. I don't feel that. We got Lance Archer throwing people through the ceiling. Possibly my favorite thing.
Literally, I mean, because I was looking at my phone during this, and I saw that guy literally go up into the ceiling. I was like, "Is that a dummy?" No, that's a real person.
That's a dude. So when I watched that, what I wondered is, did they move that panel and make sure that there wasn't something above that before they've done it? Because I've worked on drop ceilings, and you have some areas where there might be something, and you have dead areas where there's nothing. So I hope.
I don't know. He threw that one guy right into that mirror. Did you see that? Where the guy was rubbing his because he threw the guy and the guy's elbow ran right into the mirror.
I didn't see that. All I remember is dude straight up through the ceiling and into a trash can. Which being thrown into the trash can, I was also like, is there some padding in the bottom? Because he just chucked him in there.
Murder Hawk's it is what it is. When I get my hands on you, you're just going.
Well, I got a name to live up to here. When people hear the Murder Hawk, they expect murder, or at least attempted. And I like where Jake was just kind of laughing about it.
Jake plays the old man that enjoys violence.
Yeah.
Really well.
So, all right, but yeah, I think they're just kind of keeping him away from matches for a while to let him loot. You know what I mean? It feels like they're letting the whole losing to Cody thing blow over.
Yeah, maybe. Well, no. Well, okay. So I guess they set that up before COVID, and then COVID happened. So and he was kind of a victim of already being in a storyline that you couldn't really drop. You had to go through with it.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of people that have been hosed, so to say.
Yes.
'Cause again, and I've said it like almost every week, and I'm sure NXT is the same way. Raw and SmackDown even have it. There are matches that are happening that it is like a crime that there's not crowds for.
Oh yeah.
So I wonder if they will ever
with NXT when the Mountie song come on. If there was a crowd, they would have went nuts for that. So,
yeah. No, they like Breezango pretty well. Like they're a likable duo.
So anyway,
so we got Diamante and Ivelisse, I believe is how it was said. I really wasn't too into this match. I was still on the high from a dude being thrown through the ceiling. So sure. I just couldn't get into it, but it seemed like it was a okay match, but there was just not a lot to it for me.
No. I was the same way. So.
Right. Now, I am curious to see Diamante against Sheeta. Like, largely because Sheeta has good matches, so we'll see.
Yep.
So next match that happened was we got 5 against Hangman. Did it feel like a big deal to you to see Hangman having a singles match?
No.
Nah. I was somewhat like, ooh, like it felt special a little bit because you hardly. I mean,
he hasn't had one in a long time.
Yeah, you know? So like I was pleased to see that. I enjoyed like when the Dark Order came out, like his attitude was entertaining to me, I guess.
Yeah.
So 5 has, 5 is the king of competitive matches that he's definitely losing at this point. Between Kenny, Phoenix, now with Paige, I forget who else he had a match against. Might have been one of SCU or the best friend. I can't even remember at this point. But yeah, so
I liked how Paige did a power bomb. So is that his new finisher now?
I don't know. That might just be his general finisher.
Okay.
Like, because Buckshot is like pretty good.
Deadeye or whatever he calls it.
Deadeye is the worst move ever. Hopefully, the best friends were like, "Hey, Paige, that's kind of gimmick infringement on Strong Zero. It's very similar. Could you not do that?" And he was like, "Okay." Like, I don't know how that conversation would go, but
sure.
Mr. Brody, basically points out that it doesn't seem like anyone has his back, and offered him to join the Dark Order, basically, but Paige used the magic word cult that infuriated Mr. Brody.
Yes.
And he left. So he took did Colt Cabana's shirt? That looked like a Dark Order shirt, right?
It's a Colt Cabana Dark Order shirt, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, it's pretty much he's going to be in the Dark Order, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, he takes him to the back, shielding him from the violence, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but yeah.
Well, because it seems like they've alluded that Mr. Brody is trying to hide some of what they do from Colt, but like if he ever watches the show, he's gonna know. Like, I don't understand what, like it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't watch playbacks of the show.
Absolutely possible.
Sure.
Either way, Paige tries to fight off the entirety of the Dark Order, but FTR fortunately happened to be carrying around a styrofoam cooler backstage that they happen to carry to the ring. And then they save him, and then, like we alluded to earlier, Kenny shows up.
I have a problem here. So, like you said, Moxley, it seemed like he was just like, I don't know, he got lost in the back, and he's like, oh, wait, I got to come out there. So,
well, at least
so it seems like he,
from a reality standpoint, Moxley might have just been like up in the crowd somewhere, playing Sting, just watching the cage match to see what the Brian Cage. Like, he's not. It would. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, he wouldn't have been invested. Like, it's not like he had a tag team partner that he was co-champion with that he knew had a match.
So I think with Kenny, because Kenny was like right behind FTR. FTR barely got to do their thing, and
Yeah.
then Kenny was like right behind them. I think it would have actually been better if Kenny was gone a little bit longer, in the back, and then came out. You know, so
Right.
I just think he came out too soon.
Well, maybe they. Yeah, this is guessing, but maybe they wanted it to be reasonable enough that he still would have been there in time. It's just FTR was there first, so Hangman just sees that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Like he sees them helping and then Omega out. I don't know, but either way, like we're closer to an end game of whatever story they've decided to turn this into.
So FTR all week has been posting on Instagram the Carolina Boys over and over again, and they keep showing pictures of them.
Yeah,
all three of them together. So who knows what that's going to be?
I'll have to look for that. Yeah, well, I mean, because Kenny and Hangman are going against Dark Order for the titles next week.
Yeah.
So maybe something will happen there.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, who knows? Because it seems like they're pushing Dark Order a little bit more now. Like they're starting to gain some traction. Obviously, I can only go by like online reaction to them.
Yeah.
But it seems like they are much more accepted.
Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing. Are they a comedy act like on BTE? Are they a serious act on Dynamite? I don't know which one they're going with.
I think it's kind of like what some of the guys on BTE do. Is it's just them having fun with something, showing a different side. But
the Dark Order stuff on BTE is funny. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But
right, but it doesn't match. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because on BTE, it's
wish...
like Brody is on a sitcom where he's the only competent person with anger issues.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
I understand what you're saying for sure.
I like on BTE where Mr. Brody was talking about Silver. He's like,
Yes.
It's always Silver. He's like, and they were talking about, well, he's just a child. He's like, well, my son is 8 years old, but he's gonna F an idiot.
Yeah, it's so like, it makes me like them more because stuff like that is hilarious to me. And then, but it's like, yeah, they can be serious too. So I don't know. And the fact that you had what's his name and Stu having an argument about having to wear a mask, it's like, well, he's ugly, but like, you guys look exactly the same.
Yes.
You're bald and have a beard. But yeah, so we'll see. Looks like Evil Uno. Have you ever watched his Twitch stream? I've probably asked this before. He's fairly entertaining. He is not as good as some of the other wrestling streamers, but he doesn't do bad. Like he tries to engage the audience some. So
gotcha.
We got the main event, which I had about zero interest in the match itself. Of Jurassic Express with Marco against Jake and Jericho with Santana and Ortiz.
I wanted Santana and Ortiz to beat the crap out of Marco Stunt. He was getting on my nerves during this match.
Marco is a bad guy. He interferes in matches that he has no business interfering in.
Yeah.
With his big stupid head, as Jericho pointed out.
He just reminds me of like Hornswoggle.
Right. Yeah, there's just something that you don't like.
I just don't like him. I don't like the character. I don't get the character.
I like his matches a little bit better. Like they've grown on me because he's gotten a better moveset that makes more sense to me. But yeah, it's because he does the floss dance from time to time. That's really what it is for me. Like that just. The only thing worse he could have done is like slap Dean Malenko in the face. So I'm just going to kind of skip through the match here, if you're okay with that, because what matters is what happened at the end. So match ends, code breaker, apparently. I seriously was not paying that much of attention until I saw Serpentico get in the ring. And it was weird because even like Jericho and everybody was looking at Serpentico very weird. So I was like, well, what's going on here? And it turns out that Sammy is back.
It would have been funny if Tony didn't tell him.
I almost wondered about that because, like, if you watch it back, like, the way Jericho's looking at Serpentico, it's very strange. Like, it genuinely looks like he's like, what is going on?
Yeah, Santana and Ortiz was kind of like, okay,
But
are we getting a new member?
I guess we'll find out on Sammy's vlog on Tuesday if they knew, but I imagine they knew and they just played it that way because Jericho seems to be into the little details of things. But it would be fantastic to find out that they didn't even know, because Serpentico was in the crowd all night.
Yeah, well, it's funny because Serpentico there's girlfriend said, "Oh my God, I've been dating Sammy this entire time on Twitter."
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was pretty good. Overall, like, the episode, there were a couple things I just didn't care for, but I mean, I enjoyed it. Apparently, the Nielsen families loved the bejesus out of it.
Sure.
Or Tony Khan and his money are buying off Nielsen families, which would be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean,
like, it's the one thing McMahon didn't think of.
Yeah, it's like good. I'm glad they're doing good, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, I just like there being another company that there's a lot of stuff they do that's the same as WWE, but there's little things that they're doing that are different as it is right now.
Hey, you have Impact.
Did you watch Slammiversary?
I watched some things on the just like clips.
Yeah.
It just that looks weird.
I have never been able to get into Impact, so I always want to give it a try. I mean, they stream stuff on Twitch all the time, and for whatever reason, I just can't do it.
When they have no fans, like, they don't even have wrestlers.
Well, I heard there was, like, issues with, like, the miking of the ring. Like, the ring was super loud.
Okay.
Which seems like a small thing to complain about, but I imagine there's people who hate Impact just like there's people who hate WWE and AEW and NWA.
Sure.
Speaking of people who hate wrestling, you had linked something to me about the one and only Jim Cornette this week.
Oh, yeah.
So, do you think Jim Cornette really hates things as much as he says, or if he's just playing it up because he knows that is what is getting him views and money?
So I'm going to, like,
or 50-50.
I'm going to say what Shane Douglas said.
Okay.
He said he doesn't know. It's hard to tell because he's like, Jim Cornette plays a heel in wrestling.
Right.
So he's like, I don't know if he's just playing a heel.
Yeah.
And, like, on his show, get people, because he's trying to make money.
Right.
Whatever. So I don't know if he is playing a heel still,
right.
And that's how he's just trying to get money, or if he's actually like that. If he's like that in real life, I would not want to be around that person.
Yeah, he's I don't listen to much of it because I know it's super negative all the time, it feels like. But
yes.
I mean, there's definitely points he makes that are valid, but then he has some really bad stuff to say where you're like, that makes me just not want to listen to you at all. So I don't know what it is. Like, I would be more inclined to think that he just knows that he will get views and make money. So that's what he's doing. And then he's just laughing at how stupid people are to believe it. Like, that's to me, that's best case scenario, because that means he's not, because some of the things he says are just like, you can't really believe that would be better. Like, where it's like, people aren't doing drugs, people aren't abusing people, going out and getting in violent fights or taking advantage of women, all that stuff.
And then, like, some of the things that he's critical about, I'm like, but you praise how great the Undertaker character is. The Undertaker, if you really think about it, is just as ridiculous as anything else.
Possibly more.
Yeah,
but we all accept it because it was cool. It still is.
Sure.
Like,
yeah,
Orange Cassidy is ridiculous, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, but he'll trash Orange Cassidy, say it's
Right.
a terrible gimmick, it's exposing the business. Thinking, dude, you got a dead guy, that's a zombie that comes back.
Who controls
come on
lightning,
now.
and his brother who controls fire.
It's all about using your imagination and getting lost in the storyline.
Right.
I don't think Robert Downey Jr. flies around in a metal suit, but I can watch Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr. is exposing the Avengers. The whole superhero business.
It's like, calm down, just take it for what it is. Yeah. So
Let me see here. So next week, Dynamite, I don't have it pulled up here, but I mean, they got like a crazy show, crazy dark coming up with 9 million matches. Dark is sometimes hard to watch because there's nothing in between the matches. It's just nonstop. And I'll just come back to it later sometimes and finish it. You got anything else wrestling-wise?
No, we've been talking about wrestling for a while.
Yes.
So, I mean,
let's go to video game stuff.
Okay.
Here we go.
Get over here! Time's up. Let's do this.
All right. So, my biggest thing I've done this week is Warcraft.
Okay. I've seen you online for a while.
Yeah, so what I've been doing, before we get to that, how are you going on your quest for 5 million gold?
I've been kind of slacking this week. I really haven't did too much.
Clock's ticking. I was going to make a bumper for Long Boy Update, but I can't fight the urge to use the Jurassic Park music, and I feel like there's no way that gets by.
Oh, sure.
So
we'll definitely get flagged for that.
At some point, we don't have anything that's really super monetized, but
sure.
I just can't imagine that that's one you can get away with. All right, so I've spent more gold than I've made because I've been trying to make a speed build is basically, or a speed gear set. I saw a couple streamers do it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat, but I never thought about doing it myself. And then I was running like an old dungeon or an old raid, and it was driving me nuts how slow it was to go through, because it was one of those ones where you have to run back to get out, or you got to try to join a group, leave the group, and it'll port you out of the instance. But sometimes that takes longer than just running out. I was like, this is so slow. It's making me mad. And I was like, maybe I should look into one of those gear sets. So that's what I did.
Okay, yeah.
So I am currently up to, now you can go to Wowhead. Basically, if you just search for like Warcraft speed gear set, something along those lines, you'll find something on Wowhead. There is a macro that you can make that will tell you your speed based on like different things. So I have that. So currently, the character I'm doing with is a Dark Iron Dwarf. So if I'm indoors, I get that 4% speed boost. So I'm over, just slightly over 150% speed. So, which is pretty good. If I use my heroic leap, it actually puts me like 210% or something for a short period of time. So, but now you had mentioned, were you trying to do this as well? Or starting it kind of?
So I didn't. Because I noticed like some of the Azurite traits that you can make your
the long strider.
Yeah, so I was doing that with my druid to get the jellies, so I can basically get honey quicker. I guess.
Right. Yeah. Basically, what you can do, obviously, like going to the page on Wowhead, if anyone plays WoW and is interested in it, the Azurite trait you want is long strider. It basically, whatever your highest secondary stat is, so like critical strike, mastery, versatility, whatever, it goes on that and gives you like a percentage, around 7%. Some of mine say 6%, but so for like my warrior, critical strike is my second. So you can do that. That gives you a pretty good boost straight away if you get all 3 Azurite pieces to match up to that. The next thing you can do is there's the Benthic gear that you can get in Nazjatar. That seems to be the easiest gear to just farm, so to say, you can get a tertiary stat that'll give you speed. So I've got a couple pieces that have speed on them. To boost it further, you can get. I went and did this. There's old rings that you can buy, and there's 2 speed boosts ring or gem enchants. There's a 5% speed increase and a 3%. So basically, you go and get like 2 rings that have ideally they have your secondary stat that the Longstrider's working off of, but you can equip both of these, like one of each, so you'll get an 8% speed increase off the rings. Like it'll stack up that way. There is now I got boots that I got like a speed boost and some other stuff on, so I haven't done this, but there's a minor speed enchant that if you get some old boots, it says here that it says it's 8%, but you're actually getting a 10% increase on them. On the server we're on, no one sells the minor speed boot enchantment.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have an enchanter that has the old Cataclysm enchanting stuff.
Well,
but if you do, let me know, because if you have minor speed boot enchant, make one and send it to my character.
It will cost you 4 million gold.
I don't have that, but because I don't know if that would be the 10% that it says that it actually gives might be bigger than what I'm getting from what I'm doing. But I need to test it. But no one's even selling it. Like I'd pay like 1,000 gold for it easy just to find out. The other thing you can do is basically like I got the heirloom cloak that's 4/4. You can send the heirloom cloak to a lower level character and do the Warlords of Draenor cloak enchantment, where you get like whatever critical strike, but it gives you a 2% speed boost as well. So I have that. So you basically replace your legendary cloak with that because of the 2% increase. And then there's all kinds of like other things. Like the hardest thing was the rune blade of Baron Rivendare. If you don't actually have it, you got to run Strathholm until you get it. But it gives you a 10% speed boost. So since I'm a warrior, it works out great because I just equip that in one of my hands. But it's like a super low drop rate apparently. So I spent hours just as many runs as I could get into it, trying to get it, and I finally got it. I didn't see the mount, which made me sad. But
I got that. Oh yeah.
The rune blade?
No, the mount.
Oh yeah.
I think I got it with you that one night. We was just doing Dungeon Finder of all things. I ran that so many times, like just soloing it, trying to get that mount, and then we get it one night. It was just
that's kind of how it works sometimes. There's all kinds of mounts and drops that I still have never gotten. But basically, so you can do all that stuff. And then I've taken and like anything that I could find with a gem or whatever, I'm trying to optimize my gear for the highest crit. Fortunately, like crit haste is what I was stacking anyway, so it's not too big of a change. But the long part now is I'm going through and trying to get the benthic gear. I think I've bought the pants probably 40 times now and still haven't got the speed stat on them. But it's basically you fill out the non-azurite pieces with the benthic gear. So your bracers, your gauntlets, your belt, your legs, and you can do the boots if you can't get the minor speed enchant. But you want to get this in a perfect world, you would get a gem slot with the speed tertiary, and that would be the best way to go. So it's been more engaging than anything currently in the game for me.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's like, hit the little macro and it tells you, it's like, I'm running 150% speed. And then you see other people walking around and you just like compare yourself to them. It's like, wow, I'm so much faster.
Imagine if you was a demon hunter.
Yeah, well, or a hunter with the cheetah or whatever. So yeah, there's like, I get the 4% indoors, which works on most raids and dungeons, but like hunter would be ideal, I would say, because you would have all the stuff with that, and they have a bow that gives you a speed boost, So, but yeah, so I've been doing basically just farming that out as much as I can, which has been a lot of fun. And I assume that it'll work the same way when we get Shadowlands. So for running old content, like eye level is obviously way lower, but I don't need to have 450 eye level gear to go run ICC. So, but running through it at 50% faster is fantastic. So,
Sure. I got the 6-month subscription mount, not because I wanted the mount, just because it was cheaper.
Yeah, for the sub.
For the sub, I was like, well, I'm gonna play it anyway. So I got that mount.
I have not committed to that yet. I need to buy the Hearthstone pre-purchase because I want the Kel'Thuzad hero card.
Okay. Yeah.
Although I'm up to 12,000 gold, so I have a lot of gold, but
Sure.
But I want all the little extra thingies for it. I've still been getting my butt kicked at Battlegrounds.
Yeah. I have been doing really good.
Sick of Murlocs.
I've been doing really good with just mixed decks of this weird concoctions of stuff.
Yeah, just something that works. Well,
I had a poison Murloc, a mech. That mech that has a shield on it, and then when another mech pops up, it gets a shield back.
Yeah. It starts out as like a
like
3/2.
Yeah, I had like some demons in this one thing, and I got first place. So, hey.
Yeah, I've had some really gross games. The way it's worked. One of the things I've started doing is if I have a turn where it's like, man, I don't even have anything, and there's one of the unstable ghouls that'll deal 1 damage to everything, I will grab one of those, just so if I get to like top 2 where I know I'm against a Divine Shield Murloc deck, that I can throw that dude down and at least pop the Divine Shield and maybe win.
Yep.
But usually the Murlocs have 500 health, Wind Fury, Poison, Divine Shield. They delete your hard drive if they hit you twice.
Well, I was watching, I think it was Firebat, but he was saying that he always gets that ghoul, and just keeps it. And he's like, always just keep it now until the very end. And he's like, in that way, if I run into that Murloc, I just throw that down.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what I'm doing, and I guess it's a good level of play, but it's so weak. Like it doesn't have any of the families or the tribes, I guess you would call it. So it's kind of hard to buff unless you're like a Van Cleef or something. But at the same time, you want it to die because you want that effect to go off. But you're just so weak. Like I don't know. Like it makes me want to play Nefarian every time for the hero power, basically.
Yeah.
But then I get garbage if I play Nefarian. So
I think it's time to get a new cards.
I'd like to
get rid of Murlocs or something. I don't know.
Rotate Murlocs out or get rid of Gentle Megasaur, just for a while. Just for a while. Because I mean, I think it's fine that Murlocs can be strong, but something happened. Either everybody realized that they're the best, or they changed something subtly somewhere along the way that I'm just sick of Murlocs now. Like the Soul Juggler for demons doesn't really bother me nearly as much all of a sudden.
No.
So,
I agree.
Let's see. Did you see something quick here? Did you watch any of the Xbox console game reveal trailer stuff?
No.
Okay. Well, Halo looks cool if you're into shooters at all. And it looks like Fable is going to be coming to Xbox. Hopefully PC as well. If you remember, or if anyone listening remembers, my complaint about the one Fable that you can get for Steam, that every time you try to level up, it crashes your game.
Yes.
Man, that was disappointing. Because Fable is almost exactly the type of game I want to play right now. and I can't because it crashes because I can't level my character. Stupid. Makes me mad.
It makes me want to get the new Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Just for Gears of War and Lost Planet. Oh, I love Lost Planet. That was such a great
Now,
game.
those might be on PC, so you might not have to. I don't know.
Yeah,
I imagine that's going to be like the console exclusive stuff, or Gears probably, almost certainly.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about. I think Lost Planet was exclusive, so I want to play the new game of whatever they're going to run.
Right. Yeah, at this point, I would probably lean towards the Xbox over PlayStation. And Xbox, I don't know. Xbox seems like it's going to be more friendly to cross-play with computers than PlayStation.
Sure.
Which, I mean, makes sense. It should be that way. If there was going to be something like that, but we'll have to see.
Well, I bought a PS4, and I like it.
Yeah.
I don't play games on it. I use it for a media PC.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, where you could have
all
made
I
a
use it
Raspberry Pi and done about the same.
Yes. And
For much cheaper, yeah. Well, they have some games like Horizon Zero Dawn. I really want to play that. Fortunately, it's going to come out on the computer. But God of War, like those games look awesome. But I can basically watch a YouTube playthrough of those or watch a streamer play them. So it doesn't really... Now, like Fable, for example, if I could only play it on the Xbox, that's probably going to make me want to get an Xbox. Just because I really like Fable, and that's a game I could watch someone else play, but I want to play it myself. Like, there's some story games where it's like, no, I want to play myself.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so the Xbox 360, because I didn't get the new Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox 360 burned me out because I had to been four consoles because I kept getting the Ring of Death over and over again. And I'm just like, I'm not buying another one. So I think that's why I went with PS4.
Yeah.
Because I got so burnt out with the Ring of Death.
Right.
So
I mean, that's reasonable.
I think that experience has left me. So I think I'm ready to be abused again by Xbox. So.
Well, hopefully it won't be. I'm definitely not buying like week one. Fortunately, I am. Now, if something happens where when that comes out, like I've won the lottery and I don't work and I have plenty of time, I might buy one as soon as I can. But fortunately, I can wait.
When is that coming out?
I would assume holiday.
Well,
I don't remember.
With the rumors of us getting a stimulus check of the $1,200 again, a lot of people probably going to be buying
video games.
And, yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be maybe getting a new desktop if that happens.
Right. Yeah.
Mine is very old. Still good for... Fortunately, I don't play much cutting-edge stuff. But I would like to have something newer that can handle streaming, like whether it be making a video for YouTube of gameplay and not crashing things out.
Well, we was going to start doing that, and then the COVID's happened.
Yes.
And kind of changed the plans there. So,
well, yeah, and I mean,
towards the end of the year, we can.
Yeah, because I'd still I would enjoy doing that. That'd be fun.
Sure.
But as it is right now, we are limited by our time. In the future, though, future us will hopefully have better resources, like Tony Stark and his dad. So, all right. Do you got anything else?
No, I think that's a good way to end it.
All right. I'll throw out our plug where you can go to the agonyofpositivity.com if you want to send like email stuff or whatever. Twitter at the AOP podcast. Let's see, what else? Do we got anything else?
Send us pictures of your dog,
or cat, hamster, food that you've made, toys, whatever.
Yes.
Feel free to, as
Facebook.
always, grab your friends' phones and subscribe them to our podcast, even if they don't know about it. They don't even have to listen, as we always say. So, all right. We will outro. Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week.